Well, the birds are singing. Well, they were. But it's not a particularly nice day. It's a spring day, in as much that the leaves are coming out. But it's a bit overcast. And today we're taking the Amy out on a little bit of a drive that's organised by a club in conjunction with our classic club. That sounds all very complicated. What we're doing is we're just taking the car out for a little go at a organised event. So we're all going to meet at our local club in the car park. Now there is supposed to be around 50 classic cars coming. So this could be quite exciting. It could be a good photo opportunity. We'll see. So I think the Amy is ready. I think we better drive around and get it started up and see what's happening. Right, well, I've washed the car, I've checked the engine oil, there's no water to check on this car, I've checked the tyre pressures, and I think we're good to go. It's not as spotlessly clean and shiny as I've seen it in the past, but I think we're going to possibly get some rain today. Well, I hope not. There's a little bit of dampness in the air, which is not good. But the car's okay. I think one of the things we're going to have to tackle, and I might tackle it this year, is to get these wheels refurbished. There's little bits of rust coming, little spots of rust on these wheels. They're very prone to rust, these old Citroen wheels. In the past, actually, I've found that when they get really bad, it's actually cheaper to buy new ones. And I might investigate that. Because the cost of actually just getting them off, repainted and everything, by the time you do it all, you just as easy, just buy 4 new wheels. I don't think they're that much money, but I think I'll check that one out. So, it's full of fuel, and we're ready to go, I think. Now I've got my satellite navigation, and how have I fixed this one up? USB. So I've got a USB power outlet here. Let's see if it works actually. Oops. Yeah, look at that. That's good. Came out right away. Oh, wonderful. So we've got we've got power for that. So now that the car's it's warmed up a little bit, they do take a reasonable time to warm up, these air-cooled engines, it seems. Now this particular car, I've driven this car probably on more occasions than anything other than my Mercedes here. I used to drive it, funnily enough, I used to drive it quite regularly as almost a daily driver, and I've taken it on quite long journeys. Well, relatively long. Been down to the south coast, been a couple of times to the Norfolk coast. I've been to Aldborough, East Anglia. Driven it around a lot. Whoops, it's in gear. I quite like this car. Unlike the 2CV, and this is basically the same car, it's a slightly more powerful engine. It's got the same engine, slightly more powerful, but then again it has to pull a lot more weight. This is a much heavier car than the 2CV. And the 2CV hasn't even got a steel roof, and this car's got a lot more in it. But this car actually goes really well. I mean, it cruises quite well. You don't have to change down so much on gradients or anything. And it drives almost sort of, well, like a normal car, but it drives better on the motorways than I think than the 2CV. Though the 2CV was okay when I went to Poland in it. I found it alright. Just get used to it, I guess. Anyway, we'll see how we go today. Right, so we've arrived at the club. We're a bit early. And hopefully we'll have probably got here before all the other cars. Right, so there's the Lotus. That's here. Hello. Hi.
How are we?
All right. Right, well, we've got a few cars coming here. What do we got here? We've got a Austin Healey and a Jag and another Austin, a Jag, and an Anglia. Another Austin Healey. They're quite popular. Right, so everyone's having something to eat. Right, so this is the club. Got various rooms here. This is a nice Jacobean room. And people in here. And we've got people eating everywhere, I think. Standing out in the car park. The cars should be assembling. Oh, MG. That one's got patina. That's got a good dose of patina.
Raining in, you don't know where to go.
Nice little thing there. Jag.
You never know.
I wonder what this is. It's a Troy.
To go?
No, wait. Right, go. Thank you, bye-bye.
Should use my card, I'll tell you why. Because it'll be down.
No, you have to go out. No, well.
Tell them.
Okay. Yeah, should we use the code on the way in?
Yeah, I know. I'll tell them.
Bottom turn right.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Rattleston Airfield, is it?
Yep. Yep. Okay.
If you keep to the right of the runway, please.
Okay.
See if you can get airborne by the time you get to the bottom of it.
Thank you.
So there's no speed limit then?
Uh-huh. Off you go. Oh, I don't know. At the end, turn left.
Right, so that was a bit of a confusion here. We've all turned around a few times because we think we were going wrong. Right, well, it was a nice drive. Right, well, 2 horses. Very exciting. Well, finally, after all the excitement of the drive, following, picking and everything, oh, and I get an ice cream as well. What do you know? I actually get an ice cream. Well, I thought I'll stop and have that. Right, well, I just sat down for a minute. This is a little place that we made for putting our electric bikes in. But we didn't keep them in here during the winter because it's too cold for the batteries, so they're going to come out here soon. We've got charging points for them. And now I'm going to go have a look at the Volvo because we've been told by Volvo that there is no bleeding ability on this car. You just basically have to keep churning the engine over till the fuel starts coming through when the pump has been replaced. But unfortunately we can't do that because successfully because the battery's flat, so we've charged it up a bit and we're going to give it another try. We have tried it a little bit, see what happens. So the car's still in pieces. Right, you reckon it's going to turn over?
It'll turn over now, and we've had it running for a few seconds, so hopefully this one will spray in while it's turned over.
Right, what do you want to do then?
So I just need to settle around the front here. carry that in that hole there. Once it starts turning over, only for about 2 seconds.
Right.
Let's see how we get on.
Normally you pump it through, don't you? A hand pump or something.
You used to get them like on the vans,
Yeah.
like this. Used to have a bike valve and like push it until it spurted out, and then on there. I did say there is a bike valve on the older model of this, so you can see if diesel's in there. But this one,
And also, of course, it's got to come. You know, the pump's at the back, isn't it?
if it was like my one on my van, where it's got a cup where the diesel filter sits in, you can undo the top of the cup and fill that up with diesel, do it back up again, and then it's straight in. And this one here, the filter's just a normal filter and the fuel line underneath, so you can't fill it with diesel.
Well, at least the battery's charging. It's the only thing that's working. The battery charge is alright. So this is the cable laid. And all they're going to do is put sand on top of that.
Yeah, layer of sand and then a layer of tape.
Like a warning tape, that's all. Yeah.
This one's going to be the live one. It's going to stay live.
Yeah. This is going to feed the four dwellings and the landlord's one. Alright, we'll try this again.
Do it in neutral or something like when it's running, so I can push it out and put my van onto the back of it.
Yeah, okay. Was that longer?
No, it's been longer than that.
Oh. Well, what's happening is, it's probably because I didn't spray it that much. And
I think you're spraying it enough.
yeah, what it is though, that it's not sucking up any diesel. Well, it's just burning this at the moment.
Yeah.
It's not got any diesel at all. How much power is in that battery now?
Not a lot. I've probably got another one attempt.
I think the best thing is just leave it till tomorrow now. Let it charge overnight.
Get a full battery on it.
Yeah. Then maybe what it needs.
Run for a few seconds, I can quickly nip it into neutral. I'm so much happier just so I can pull it out. Like push it out. It don't go into neutral when it's not running.
No. Let's just. Yeah, that's another place. That drives you mad. Let's leave it till tomorrow. Let it charge up overnight.
Battery charge on it, which is good.
Right now, we had to get this charged up. This was not running, and I want to do a bit of work with it. So, see if this is going. Choke is so hard to pull up. Right, well, the weather's improved. It's certainly a much nicer day today. It's actually quite warm, and it's drying out, which is a good thing, considering they're coming to lay electricity cable tomorrow. That'll be interesting. So it looks like a good time to go for a drive. Yeah, here we are. So I'm going to go out on my my electric bike here. This is my super duper one, my bit of a racer one, not the cruiser model. So let's see how this goes. Well, this bike is a bike which was made from a mountain bike with a electric motor and controls fitted to it retrospectively. So it's a hybrid, really. It's got a throttle control, and it's got obviously varying degrees of effort that can be put into it from the motor, so different degrees of assist. I tend to have it on the lowest one. You can actually turn it off to have, it'll go down to 0, which gives no assist at all. So you're just using it as an ordinary bike, and then you go up from 1 to 5, 1 being the least assist. So when I tend to use it most, and you're pedaling with quite a reasonable amount of effort having to be put in, which is good. And then as you're going up hills or gradients, you can just use the gears, but with the assist it makes even the lower gears even a bit lower. They're higher in ratio but lower in power, they're like being in a lower gear, so it's easier to pedal. So actually using the gears even on just one assist is quite good. You can go up most hills, to be honest with you, and the trouble is if you then put it up to even say assist of 3, that's 3 out of 5, it tends to run away with itself, and when you start pedaling, the assist kicks in and it actually is going faster than what you're actually pedaling. So that's not that good, really. So I tend to just use the one, and just makes life a lot easier. You can pedal, and it really is quite good. The battery life on it is not that brilliant, to be honest with you. I find that my A to B Metro, which has 2 batteries, but the battery life on that is a lot better. I can get about 20 miles from each battery, so it's got 2 batteries, so I've got about a 40-mile range, which gives you, it's a good, because you know, you're out for a ride and if the first battery then packs up, you can turn around, you know, you've got another battery that'll basically get you home. This one, it suddenly goes down. I mean, it goes down really quick, and suddenly, before you notice it, you're down to under half. I haven't actually run out of power on it yet because I've got back before that, but I would say probably 15 miles maybe out of this battery, which is, you know, reasonable if you want to go shopping or go somewhere not too far. It's all right. It just depends how good you are. When you get used to electric bikes like I do, you don't really want to be cycling much without the extra power. So I tend to not risk it too much and get back before the battery runs out. People like me are called chickens. Right, well that's me. I'm just going to have a coffee because I'm losing the will to live, really. It's been a hectic couple of days. We had the car run yesterday, and that was good fun, and we did quite a few miles and everything. But it was back to normal today. So yesterday was a bit of an interval break, but today it's back to problems with the day-to-day living with cars and everything. The electricity company are here this week to put a new cable in all the trenches that we dug. That seems a bit of a fiasco in my view. They didn't have the cable they were needed yesterday because the guy who runs the cable store, apparently, the warehouse or the yard where they keep all the cables, he was at a meeting, so nobody could go and get cables. We're talking about massive, great big reels of cable. So that held them up. They had to go home yesterday. Then this morning, the 3 of them are sitting around for ages because a dumper and a digger haven't arrived yet. We couldn't get the pump going. I was out about 6 o'clock in this morning. I couldn't get the pump going properly, but we managed to do that because we got water in the trench because it's soaking in from the sides. So obviously it's sucking up water from the ground. So we've got to get rid of that. So the electricity job is going along, but it seems to be a bit of a Fred Karno circus to me. And all the guys are contractors. They're not actually working for the power company, so it doesn't seem like the power company employ many people. They just subcontract all the work out, and it's very disjointed. And anyway, maybe I shouldn't be saying all this. It's a marvelous setup. Right, so the Volvo's been a problem. In fact, we went over to speak to Anglian Vehicle Services, but they were of no help because they said they're too busy to deal with anyone at the moment. So we managed to get Volvo themselves to come back with some advice for Tom, and as a result of that, we managed to get the car going. So the Volvo is going. Tom's just taken it out for a test drive. The fuel gauge still wasn't showing any level of fuel, so even though the floats seem to be working up and down, but there's no contact, electrical contact being made or somewhere or whatever, so the fuel gauge on the dash isn't working. But whether this pump new pump that we fitted has solved that problem of the intermittent failing of the car to start. We don't know, obviously, until we keep running it, but it seems to be running, and so that's an ongoing problem. I'm going to have a coffee now. Right, you got a reader.
Yeah.
Is the car still running?
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm going to go around the other side. Right, Volvo gave you some info.
Yep.
And you got diesel through.
So it's all running now.
And now it's running. You've test driven it.
Running lovely.
In other words, you've thrashed it up the motorway. And it's been running all right.
Yeah. Starts first time each time at the minute. The only problem being is I've got no fuel gauge.
We've got no fuel gauge, so we don't know how much fuel's in it.
And Volvo said that there'll be a code on the reader, which is why it's not working.
Yeah.
But the car has no faults. It says that I've got a manifold pressure and biometric pressure circuit high, which are the two things it's bringing up, but it's not bringing them up as a warning, it's just stating that it's finding something on them.
Right.
Nothing to do with fuel.
So that's the reader that you just bought. So now we've got a reader. Okay, so what could be wrong with the fuel gauge then?
Could be, like I said, Volvo said as well, is that some of the new pumps they get, they just don't work. They are faulty. So the best thing I can do is, knowing that the old one works, is to clean that one and put the old float and
So leave the new pump with an old float.
Yeah, with the old reader, and see if that makes a difference.
Okay. Do you want to do that?
It's facing the right way now. We need to get power to it.
Okay. You're going to do that. How long will that take, you reckon? Sounding like, you're coming to the mechanic now.
An hour.
Okay, let's do that. Now, okay. The other thing is, you'll be pleased to hear this one. The battery in the stem of the electric bike, the A2B Metro, isn't working. Right, so the battery in the frame of the A2B Metro is not working, won't charge. I've spoken to a few battery people. Then none of them are very helpful. In America, they're very good, and if you go on the internet, there's loads of there are a number of videos that tell you how to take the battery out, because it's shaped to fit the stem.
Yeah.
They tell you how to replace the batteries, they tell you how to upgrade them and everything else. When you speak to the battery people, one person who advertises in Southampton, he's not very helpful. Most of them never heard of the A2B Metro. That's because most of them have only been in electric batteries for a short while, electric bicycles, whereas this one is, is an older model. But the bike's a good bike, isn't it? Now the battery on the back is working, so it works. But the trouble is with that bike is that with only the one battery, I want the one in the stem really.
Yeah. And that was working about 3 or 4 weeks ago when we put it on charge in the Cattery.
Yeah, well, it's not working, it won't charge at the moment. So what I've done at the moment is I've booked an appointment. I have to have an appointment because he hasn't got much room in Cambridge, which is one of the longest established. I think they're the same people that fixed it before. For you to drive it along to Cambridge and leave it there on Wednesday at 10 o'clock next week, and they will test the battery and everything else. They're also going to find out if they can still buy that battery, if it's still available. I suspect it may not be, but people do rebuild them. Right, so this is where we are at with the Volvo. We've still got, oh God, what a mess. We've still got nothing in the back. So, the car's done a few miles already now, hasn't it, today?
Yep.
You've been out in it about, 4 times or something already, and it's going all right. It ticks over nice, drives nice, doesn't it?
We haven't got the judder in the revs now.
No.
That's gone. It's flat idling.
And also, there's no black smoke coming out of it or anything. So it seems to be fine. Only one problem. We haven't got fuel gauge. So you've taken the old floats and connected them up, and they don't work either.
No.
When they did before, obviously. So it isn't the floats probably, because the new ones or the old and the old ones don't work.
Both of them don't work.
You've cleaned the connections.
Full connections, sensors, everything. Cleaned them all, put them all back together. Both exactly the same. No reading coming to the front.
Right, so we've tried to get hold of Andy, the electrician. That's a problem because at the moment we've got a switch for that Dodge that he's waiting. We're waiting for him to fit. We're waiting for him to do
Aventine.
the Aventine because the see the jobs are piling up. The display on the satellite navigation GPS is not working. And now we want some advice on this because the point is before we put the seats back, we want to make sure that we don't have to test any of that electrical stuff at the back there. What could be wrong with that gauge though? I don't understand it.
It's baffled me now.
Yeah.
You'd think it would be the float not moving, but even when it's external to the tank and you move the floats identical.
Well, it doesn't seem to be the floats. It does something to do with the power going to that.
The connections to all the power down now are cleaned.
Yeah. So I don't know how that works. I mean, who knows? Anyway, the problem is that you can't speak to a mechanic at Volvo. You only speak to a receptionist who passes messages on. Right, so that's where we are with the Volvo. And we just have to leave it as it is at the moment. Right, on to the next problem. So hang on, that's the new float.
Yep, and the new sensor.
And the new sensor that you cut. I don't believe this. You cut the new one off.
It's made out of cheap plastic compared to the old one. The thickness of this is probably double.
Yeah.
On the original. And the float on the old one floats.
And this doesn't.
This doesn't. So where the old one's sitting on top of the water, that was sitting just above bottom, bobbing.
And that was supposed to be a real Bosch one as well.
And this is a real Bosch one in the Bosch box. So I had to take the chance of cutting it off.
I would leave all of that. I don't know. Well, it's not no point.
You put the new one, the old one back on.
Mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've now got a car that works, drives, and you can even tell how much fuel you got.
Yes. That's only got 4 instead of 7 seats at the minute.
Yeah. Oh, you're converting it to a 7-seater from a pickup.
Luxury now. It's like
a
limousine in the back.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. All right, that's good news. So, what Tom did, he did everything, every bit of advice that we had, and everything to try and get the sensor to work, to make the fuel gauge work, and nothing worked. It didn't make any sense at all. Then he decided that to have another look at this float, and it's very difficult because it was fixed inside the fuel tank, but he managed to just get a glimpse of it, and what it looked like, that the new float itself did not actually float. So he took the decision to cut the unit off. So out of the new pump, he cut the float and the float unit, and then fitted the one from the old pump, and it worked. And as he just said, that the material, the way it's made, the new one is just absolutely rubbish compared to the old one. And I've heard this, that these ones, in fact Volvo, I've said it, that they have a lot of problems with the new ones. And it's a Bosch one, comes in a Bosch box as well. Actually, let's have a look. Bosch. I bought it as a genuine Bosch part. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Cool. Oh, you've got lots of stuff there. You might as well just use that. Fires. Lighting fires now. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. Right, well, the next...
Look at the dash if you want.
Yeah, let's have a look at it. See it working. I turn the ignition on?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Half a tank. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Oh. Right, well, oh, what a week. Anyway, or a couple of days, but I've decided to just retreat to the Mercedes, my old Mercedes, for a second. That's the noise of the electricity people. They're just finishing off this cable, underground cable, which they've been laying, and they put sand on it, the tape. I'm just overwhelmed by the fact that we've managed to get this Volvo, we hope, fixed. It's been a real up and down. It looks as if, and I'm saying this with some degree of hopefulness, really. It seems as if the problem's been the fuel pump. I mean, obviously, it was one of the options we thought of, and the symptoms, you know, did lead us to believe that, but it also could have been a number of other problems. So, but the car is actually running smoother. It's ticking over much better. It starts instantly. It ticks over really well. It's smoother on acceleration and just general driving. And the other thing is the fuel gauge was down to, well, how can I say it? A new Bosch pump that was not built to the same standard as the original. Because when we put the original float back in, it was fine. So the fuel gauge is working, so I feel really happy now. I've got the Volvo back. Body works fine, engine seems to be fine, and it's going to be a useful car. So, all the comings and goings with cars. What's my next project? I think the next project is to clean a few of these cars up. I've got my Aventine there, which is probably going to be the next one, but the Mercedes is close behind it perhaps. So we'll clean a car up and start taking them out of it. The other thing is, of course, look at this sun. Now, it's a really nice day today. In fact, look, it's so hot. I've got my hand here on the steering wheel, and that is actually really quite hot. So that means that we will have to get the 2CV out and get the top down. I used to say that to young women, but not now. Anyway, on to the next project. On a final note, just as a bit of a postscript here, I just wanted to show everyone how quiet and smooth this Mercedes engine. I know it's filthy and it's got to be clean, but how smooth and quiet it really is. Look at that. No vibration. I mean, I should get a little glass of water really. The only noise really is just the air from the fan going round and the belt, but the engine itself is very, very quiet. It's lovely, and I was just testing the air conditioning, and it's actually working, which is a bonus as far as I'm concerned, especially with the summer coming. Oh, yeah, that's cold in here. Right, so that's it.